Pittsburgh's gone to the Super Bowl. Here we go. Steelers. Here we go. Pittsburgh's gone to the Super Bowl. What's up, B?
Hey, how you doing? What's going on? I'm just trying to be what's the word, man? I'm stuck. I'm just trying to be happy. Positive. That's what I'm looking for. Positivity. Let's be positive about this as a fan of Western PA sports and West Virginia. Let's just be outright positive about it. There's a lot of great things going on out there, and we will stay positive. No negativity tonight from my side.
Good. Well, there's not a lot to be negative about right now except for the Aaron Rodgers thing. But, the Buccos, pretty good start. The one thing that I would bring up right off the bat is Marcel Ozuna.
Ah, Jesus.
So, as you probably know, anybody who's been to the games already knows this. But even if you haven't been to the games and you've just been watching on, Sportsnet or whatever, you probably know that Marcel Ozuna is 2 for 31 to start the season. And he said it in a post-game interview the other day, I would boo me too because I've been terrible or whatever. But what Marcel Ozuna doesn't understand, he's probably wondering, and a lot of people were wondering, why did he get booed on opening day, when he grounded out and jogged to first base? Did he get booed because he's 30 pounds overweight? Did he get booed because he had a horrible spring training and isn't hitting the ball hard at all? Or C, did he get booed because he's not Andrew McCutchen? The answer is C. And I can't believe he doesn't see that. And I think even if you asked, of the 5,000 fans out of the 39,000 that were there on opening day that booed him after a few irons, if you walked up to them, I'll bet you half of them said, well, I just booed him because he didn't run, or I booed him because he sucks or whatever. They don't even know why they're booing him. But the real reason that I think most of Bucco Nation would point to is he's not Andrew McCutchen, okay? We decided to sign him for 3 times the salary that we would have had to pay Kutch. And the reasoning was he was going to mentor O'Neal Cruz, make him mentally tougher. Well, that didn't happen, with the whole sunglasses debacle on opening day and him running in front of the other outfielders like he's playing a charity softball game or playing a Little League game. Everything that O'Neal Cruz has gotten better at, hitting left-handed pitching, was because O'Neal Cruz hired a left-handed batting practice pitcher. O'Neal Cruz getting better at hitting with 2 strikes, same thing. He did extra work during the offseason. O'Neal Cruz's plate discipline, same thing. What's the one thing that Marcel Ozuna could have helped O'Neal Cruz with? Being a professional baseball player instead of a clown. And he obviously hasn't done that. So he's 2 for 31, and his other job to mentor O'Neal Cruz, he's not doing so good at that either. Meanwhile, Kutch has 6 hits, including a home run already. He's hitting over 300. We said this a couple of podcasts ago. Kutch is Pittsburgh. Kutch would have been fine. Marcel Ozuna was never going to come in here and hit 30 home runs this year. He's over the hill. He's overweight. He's not even as good as Rowdy Tellez. And this is what you get. So, you know what? Charrington did a lot of things right during the offseason. But he screwed that one up bad. So, Marcel Ozuna.
You're making it very difficult to stay positive just with everything that you said from Ozuna, Ozzy, whatever we want to call him, that yes, you are correct. They should have just brought in Kutch. O'Neal Cruz, that's a tough one too, even though he's kind of been hitting his way out of the negativity that it was provided in the first series of the league season. I mean, the Pirates, here again, I'm not trying to stay negative about this. I want to obviously be positive, but I think all of us who are watching tonight, which could be 8 people, I'll take it, we've all been through and we've all been to the same musical. And we we know that something's going to go wrong, and that's what we fear. I mean, I heard that opening night they had like 35,000. Was I'm assuming it was close to a sellout, not a sellout. That was Friday. Saturday they had about 19, and Sunday had about 11. So if you're really serious about the excitement of Pittsburgh baseball, you would have thought that another 30,000 would have showed up Saturday, and at least 20 would have showed up on Sunday. And again, that's majority of that I'm assuming would have been sold in January and February prior to the season. But then you have walk up because people don't always make those decisions in advance to go to a baseball game. They find out what the weather's like and then they go. I mean, it's refreshing. I will tell you that. It was great to see Mitch throw 6 scoreless innings. I tell you, Mitch is great when his cranium is out of a starfish and he's not throwing home run balls. He's great. But of course, Lawrence and Uruguay just gave up 8 runs, and the dude didn't get a victory. I mean, that's it's you want to get excited. I get it. I want to get excited, but you also want to be cautious because we've all seen this before, and then there's the fall. But they're probably a bit better hitting the ball this year than they were last year, but I think their pitching is stronger this year than it was last year. I still don't see them winning 87 games. I find it very difficult to see them making the playoffs. I just don't know. I mean, the inconsistencies are going to hurt them. Games that they should have won are going to hurt them down the road. And I know they took 2 out of 3 from the Padres, right?
No, just one, but that was impressive considering we've lost 11 of our last 12 against the Padres. So
all right, so we're what,
got a
7 and 5 now?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So what are you going to do? I mean, you got to wait it out. All of the Pirates fans have got to wait it out. And like I know from years of working in sports, they will come when you win. They will show up when you win. They're not going to show up if you don't win. And we'll have to see what happens. But, it's baseball.
Yeah, early
It's
in
a
the
long
season, you can point to the weather.
Yeah.
And you can point to the fact that there's 81 home games. And people are saving up for the bobblehead and the fireworks and everything.
Yeah.
But you just mentioned Skeens. They didn't even have 10,000 warm bodies in the stadium for his start on Tuesday. Yeah. Now, it was cold. It was really cold. But if I'm there and Paul Skeens is pitching, just put a couple of extra layers on and get to the ballpark. Now, our whole starting pitching staff deserves that kind of respect right now. Ashcraft, even Carmen Majeski has been pitching well. But the fact that they can't even come close to selling out games when Paul Skeens pitches, that's a problem because Western PA people and Pittsburgh fans, Pirates fans specifically, are always going to go back on that. Nutting's an idiot. I'm not going to give my $50 to these idiots. And I'm going to go to a Pens game next week. I'm saving up for my Steelers games. They're always going to have that attitude until the glory comes back. But the problem is you can't have one without the other. If they're going to keep players, I know they just signed Connor Griffin to a long contract, but if you're going to keep players and attract players, you've got to, the fans have got to show up and show out. Now, he got lucky with Brandon Lau and Ryan O'Hearn. We had to pay him, but we paid those guys their market value. They're just good ball players. They could have gone anywhere, though. So we got lucky with that. But, the Ozuna thing is obviously a mistake. The catching situation is a disaster. And there's other disasters out there right now.
And to your point, I get it. There are 2 sides. You're right. Nutting has done his, I don't even know what Nutting has done. I mean, the whole brick thing. Again, those are PR nightmares, regardless of how the team performs on the field. And when you don't respect what you have within the community, it's hard to gain it back. And by doing that is putting a product on the field. And when you don't, it shows. And, you just brought up catcher. I mean, where are we at with putting a product on the field? And if you want to give Sherrington or Chubbington, whatever we want to call him, credit from the pitching aspect, okay, we can do that. but from a hitting production aspect, there's nothing there. I mean, I'll give you Lau. I'll give you O'Hearn's hitting well. Oh, Cruz, okay. Brian Reynolds hasn't done much. I'm sorry. Gonzalez, I think, has been playing decently. I know York had a couple hits. Griffin's going to struggle. Second base is brutal, or not second. Outfield, well, left field. Catcher, I should say, is brutal. But there are just some positions that are not strong enough. And when you play better teams, they're exposed. But again, when it comes to fan bases, I mean, when you win, they'll show up. You've got to win. And they're not just going to show up. And yeah, you're right. I mean, Skiing's third year. I don't want to say the novelty is worn off. Everybody loves him. They know he pitches well. But what's he got? 2 more years and then he's gone? 1 more year and then he's gone? Unless they're winning, they're going to lose out. Like why didn't Paul take the same type of opportunity that Connor Griffin did? They may have offered him. Skeens might have said, you know what, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to wait. Which, in due respect, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Skeens has the opportunity to make big money. He's going to make big money. But I mean, we all want to see the Pirates succeed. We just want to see them succeed without Nutting and without Chubbington. I mean, that's the huge point.
I think Skeens played 4 years of college, and so he's not going to accept the same deal that Connor Griffin just did. Connor Griffin's 19 years old, so not only can he come back in 3 years and say, yeah, I know I signed that, but I'm a superstar now, so I want to renegotiate that. But he also has the security of knowing he'd be paid for those 9 years. I think a lot of teams are trying to do that before the lockout next year, get these guys on the dotted line. But Skeens, yeah, his next contract that he signs after his 6 years of service for us is going to be his big contract, And yeah, it might be with the Dodgers, with Padres or whatever, but I'm sure that we've talked about it with him and his agent, but that next contract has got to be his big one, like one of these ridiculous figures, 40 million a year or whatever. But we're not going to touch that. But with Griffin, it's different.
If they come in with a cap, everybody's going to have to pick and choose who their all-stars are going to be, because you're not going to be able to pay what the Dodgers do if you come in with a cap. It's impossible.
You got to get rid of that deferred money thing too.
So I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. The sad part about that, what you're talking about, is the fact that you already don't have people showing up to the park in Pittsburgh. Now you add 2027 with a lockout. Look what it did in 1994, I believe, with the lockout. It took a while. And now you're talking about Pirates fans doubly pissed off with the lack of production to then the lack of baseball.
It's just an excuse, though. I've never been able to stand that whole thing, because Pirates, I mean, even during the years where we've been competitive, we've had good attendance, but we never, you look at some of these teams from similar markets, like Kansas City or Milwaukee, Cincinnati even. We probably draw similar to Cincinnati. That's not the best example. But, there's other markets like ours where people are just more fanatical about the team. And I understand it, because the Steelers have won so many Super Bowls and the Penguins have won Stanley Cups, and our population in Western PA is less than a lot of these other metropolitan areas. Like Baltimore, you got tons of Orioles fans from Washington and from the surrounding area where there's millions of people. There's other examples of that. Kansas City, is a bigger area population-wise. But Pittsburgh, the Buccos have always been the team that everybody says, well, I'm not going to spend that $50. I'm not going to spend that $200 with my family. That same family will spend $300 to go watch the Steelers play some regular season game. So that excuse doesn't fly, especially when Skeens is pitching and all you got to do is go home, pick up the kids, and drive to the ballpark. And they get 10,000 people. And that's not just Tuesday when it was cold. There were starts of his last summer where it wasn't even close to a sellout. And he won the Cy Young. I don't get that. I don't get that. You don't have that in other markets. And I don't know exactly what the reason is, but we got to get over that, man.
I mean, I guess a couple of thoughts that I have. Number one, you and I are big baseball fans. We grew up in the 70s. I think some of that has changed in the way the generations look at baseball nowadays. Number two, just based on some of the suggestions you're making with other markets, you talked about Cincinnati, you talked about Kansas City, I think you talked about Detroit. Out of all those, Detroit's the only one what I would say would be similar to Pittsburgh, because you talked about Milwaukee. But Pittsburgh and Detroit, football, baseball, hockey. Cincinnati doesn't have hockey. Kansas City doesn't have hockey. Milwaukee doesn't have hockey. And since Pittsburgh's always been like that blue-collar town, they like that aggressive sport. Steelers, Penguins. We just haven't seen it with the Pirates. So I don't know what Detroit looks like with their attendance versus the Pirates. That would probably be the one key I would take a look at.
Much bigger market, though.
I'm not arguing with you on any of this, but I'm just saying the similarities. If you're in Kansas City, if the Chiefs aren't playing, you're going to a Royals game. If the Bengals aren't playing, you're going to a Reds game. If you're in Milwaukee, if the Bucks aren't playing and they're not good, you're going to a Brewers game.
That's a really good point. The Penguins do have a big effect as well.
I really do think. Now, once they're done, the unfortunate part, playoffs are next week. It's like the middle of April now, so if they get one round in, they're in May. And then if they get 2 rounds at the end of May, that's still going to affect Bucco baseball. If they're out the first round, then you can't really complain too much from the end of May and June until, St. Vincent in July.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the attendance is like this year, because obviously you got some players that play hard. Connor Griffin's going to play hard, and Brandon Lau's going to play hard. Ryan O'Hearn's going to play hard, and other players. Nicky G is going to play hard.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have that blue-collar attitude to them, other than Ozuna and Cruz. But we can't do anything about that. The big question is, when the weather heats up and there's those nights where there's not a bobblehead or a Hawaiian shirt giveaway or fireworks, those nights in the middle of the summer when we're in contention and Mitch Keller or Paul Skeens or maybe Braxton Ashcraft breaks out this year and he's a star, those nights, and you got to see that place sold out if we're going to be serious about baseball. And I just don't see it, because people are always going to hold on to their disposable income for the Steelers, somewhat the Penguins, and they're always going to have that whole nutting, And I don't think that nutting is doing anything special except for actually just doing the bare necessity things that an owner does this year. So we shouldn't be celebrating Bob nutting by any reason.
Oh, no, not at all.
But people are always going to use that as a crutch, and it's like, in the meantime, the team needs your support. Get out there. That's my rant about that. But the Buccos are looking pretty good so far.
Better than last year.
Pretty encouraged.
Yeah, and Kelly's got them going, so we'll have to see what happens in the next couple of weeks coming up as April comes to a close and the weather gets warmer. That'll be great to see.
So the other topic I had for tonight was I wanted to talk about West Virginia University's men's basketball team, who had a kind of an unremarkable season, had a lot of close losses in the non-conference that kept them out of the tournament. They went to Las Vegas and won a tournament called the College Basketball Crown. And basically the champions of this tournament got $300,000 in NIL money. Now that doesn't go, from what my understanding is, it doesn't go to just the players who were in that game. They get some of it, but it was a $300,000 check written to the NIL fund of the university. which is significant because the second place team only got $100,000, and if you got eliminated in the semifinals, you only got $50,000. So $300,000, not too bad. And here's the funny thing about it. And you were talking about Pitt. We were talking the other day about how Pitt's lost all their players. Well, WVU doesn't have one player coming back next year because the one guy that followed Ross Hodge from Texas State is transferring, DJ Thomas, and he played really well in this tournament. And nobody can pinpoint some massive NIL deal he got from another university. He's just transferring because he felt like it. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe he felt like he didn't play enough. I don't know what it is. So they got nobody coming back off of a team that won a postseason tournament. And by all accounts said they loved their coach. So that's college basketball now.
I was to say that plays into my Pitt bit, which, as you had pointed out, Pitt lost 7 players into the transfer portal, 4 graduated, so I think they have maybe 4 left, 2 walk-ons and maybe 2 scholarships. And, I mean, Pitt's going crazy. I mean, the fan base is going nuts. You know, everything from, hey, why did they keep Capel? If they were going to lose everybody, they should have fired Capel. Capel was the reason why the incoming freshman who won decommitted was coming to Pitt, and this, that, the other thing. And it's like, it's the wild, wild west. I don't say it. There is no loyalty anymore to anybody, to any school. It's all about the money. The kids, unfortunately, don't care about, I shouldn't say that, not everybody, but the education is not something that they're looking for, because you can't really go from school to school to school in 4 years and really feel like you're going to get an education, a degree. And that's a shame, because not everybody's going to make the NBA. So it really hurts them themselves, and you just can't put together, a squad that's going to work. I mean, look at Michigan. Did Michigan have 5 guys on the court that were all transfers from last year, from what I understand? And going on to what, back to the Pitt thing, I heard that the ACC is averaging like $9 to $10 million for like your starting 5, and Pitt paid out $11 million over 4 years. 4 years. That's not even $3 million a year. So I don't know what kind of players that attracts, and obviously does. I have a tough time saying that it's all the money and all the kids, because you have to put a coach on the court to coach players. Whether you're spending, $100,000 or $1 million on a player, you still got to coach them. And I look at it and say, I think Capel's just not a good coach when it comes to coaching players. Now, if they prove me wrong and they put a great 5 on the court and he's able to coach them into the tournament, fantastic. Congratulations to Capel, but I don't see that happening, and I see that going to be more of a negative feel. Plus, it impacts. It's a PR nightmare. Number one. Number two, it impacts your revenue. How are you going to generate revenue if no one's going to come to any of these college basketball games, like West Virginia? I don't know what West Virginia's fan base is like when it comes to everybody leaving, but how do you wrap yourself around it as a fan if it's going to change every year? I mean, it's so difficult now, and that leads me to the Jagoff of week for me is the bloody freaking NCAA allowing this to happen. They're my Jagoff of the week, the NCAA. I mean, this is ridiculous and stupid, and you've just ruined something that I don't even know if you can put the toothpaste back into the tube. How do you fix it now? Very difficult.
I tried it one time, buddy.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be negative whatsoever. I'm just trying to be realistic here as a fan, and to say, I'm disappointed with the NCAA allowing this to happen. The other stuff with Pitt, that has to do with Heather Lyle and her bad judgments on contracts, or the performances, or the money that's been given out. But I mean, you can only wish. Yeah, your GM who left West Virginia is the GM of Pittsburgh, that had apparently two great transfer portal years. They were like number 2, but he's now with Pitt. So I have no idea if he's going to make that impact that he did with West Virginia. only hope that he does, but who knows?
He was Huggins's. I mean, it wasn't called GM then because there wasn't NIL money then, but he he brought in Oscar Sheboy and Miles McBride in one class to WVU for Huggins. So he knows how to get talent, whether it's from overseas or from another sport. Miles McBride was a football player in high school, but they agreed that they thought he had the toughness and the hoop skills to be great, and he's playing for the New York Knicks now. So yeah, he's good. I'm at a loss for his name, but so my Hillbilly Yinzer podcast Jagoff of the week is Marcel Ozuna, who thinks that he's getting booed because he's 2 for 31, which is a really good reason to get booed, but he's really getting booed because he's not Kutch. So if you don't know that, man, you're the runaway Jagoff of the week.
Who's our Hillbilly Yinzer this week? Who are we going out with? Who's bringing that bright spot to this podcast, baby? Come on now.
Who was the most dominant athlete amongst all these teams? I'd have to go with Honor Huff of the WVU basketball team. He scored 34 in that championship game. He was the player of the tournament. Outside of that, I'd have to go with, maybe O'Neal Cruz's bat or, maybe the starting pitching staff of the Pirates. Didn't surrender a home run. You know who gave up the first home run for the Pirates this year?
Starting or really?
Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens gave up a seventh inning home run to Xander Bogaerts, which was the only run he gave up the other day. But that was the first home run we'd given up this year. It was in Paul Skeens' third start, by the way.
We'll take that.
So, they've been doing well.
We'll take that. My Hillbilly Yinzer of the week is Muse, the Penguins coach, for what he's been able to do and able to accomplish when Sid was out, when Genie was out, what he's got to do with goalies that are probably average at best. And I my hat's off. I mean, if they beat the Jersey Devils tonight, and you said it was 1-0 before we jumped on, they're clinching.
It's 1-1 now, so they're still doing okay.
Excuse my language. That's the key is, man, to take, and like you had pointed out, all those OTLs, if we would have won half of them, we would be, incredibly even higher than where they're at. So I give my hat off to Muse.
And what he's done with Erik Karlsson. Remember what Erik Karlsson's plus minus was last year?
No.
It was like negative 60 or something. It's plus 10 this year.
Yeah, I mean, you don't hear the negativity.
That's huge.
That you did from Karlsson last year, and it's like amazing. You know what I'm saying? It's just amazing how a new coach, a new environment can change somebody's outlook and impact on a team professionally. I mean, can you imagine what it might look like this year with those Steeler players not under Tomlin's reign? It could be totally awesome, or it could totally fall apart. But you got to give Muse a lot of credit, and you got to give Dubas a lot of credit for what he's done as well as a GM for the Pens.
Dubas. Nice. He's no doofus.
No, he's not.
All right, buddy. Well, I guess that'll conclude this week's Hillbilly Yinzer podcast. We'd like to thank Crawford's Black and Gold for hanging in there with us as we continue to ramp up. If anyone's watching this is a producer type, we're looking for an executive producer for this program, which we think will really make it take off. But thank you, John Crawford, for supporting us with your name and the wonderful business you have in Breezewood, PA, for giving us the prize pack for people to register for by sending us an email at podcast@hillbillyinzer.com, and just for being an all-around great Yinzer.
Yeah, and all you Yinzers out there that are going to be watching the Pens coming up in the playoffs, what a great place to get your Penguins jersey. There's no better place than Crawford's Black and Gold. So I wish all of you a great night, and go Pens.
Go Pens. Playoffs, baby.
Playoffs. Stanley Cup. Look at it.
That would be amazing. Win a playoff game. That'd be great.
Yeah, we'll start with that.
Baby steps.
Take it.
All right, buddy. Well, I'll catch up with you next week. Thanks, everybody who watched for watching. Let's go Bucks. Let's go Pens. Go Steelers, Mountaineers, Panthers, everybody in between.
You got it.
All right.
Hey.
Talk to you later.
Later. Bye.
Out.